So even if I do a good job of coming here, falling back, and turning here, a lot of times like my partner will roll. So there's a couple reasons why I need to have my half guard hook still hooking him. One, in case he does roll, but secondly too, let's rewind a step here. If Albie defends by like holding his belt or something, and if my half guard hook is like dead here, if Albie passes my guard, so pass over, and then steps this leg like over my head here, he actually can spin around and potentially armbar me here if I keep this grip too long, okay? So keep that in mind. I have to have my half guard hook secure so he doesn't kind of feel ready to attack the Kimura. There's a few cues that are important. One, if his arm is like floating around in the air, probably not a good time to sit up for my Kimura. I might not get the right angle or might not be deep enough. So usually I'm looking for his arm to be in a couple places. One is on the floor. That's a great time to sit up for my Kimura. But as long as my arm is straight and I can sit up. If my arm is bent, his arm's too close to me, when I go to sit up, I'm gonna be like too jammed up here. So it's important that my hand is controlling his wrist, my arm is straight. Okay, and then it's gonna be a little bit easier to sit up and connect my chest to his bicep. Another potential time is if he does use his hand to push my knee down, his arm also has like a perfect bend that I could use for the Kimura, okay? So just keep that in mind. Try not to go for the Kimura if he has like a collar grip here. It's just gonna be too close to you and not a good enough angle. So I really like to have this arm extended, okay? When I sit up, I'm gonna clear my own knee shield. So I'm gonna use the momentum of pushing my knee through to sit up, bringing my chest nice and tight to his bicep. My left arm is gonna reach over, and even for me here, most of the time my hands don't connect before I fall back. Okay, I have short arms, so you can see I can't actually finish my Kimura grip before I fall back. Using the momentum of my fall back actually lets me push his hand off the floor. So even if he puts like his palm on the floor and has weight on this, as I fall back, it helps me like push his arm off. And then here's where I'm usually able to connect my grip. Okay. Here I don't feel like I can move over his head. That's fine. I can like pass the wrist off, reach around, and then reconnect for my back control. Okay. That's usually what's most common, and it's actually gonna allow me to like take the back. So it's exactly, that's a trap, right? I want him to think he can turn to face me. And let's go back down. The more aggressive he turns to face me, the easier it's gonna be for me to take his back. So as Albie turns to face me here, I keep my arms straight, and I'm gonna use the tension of the Kimura grips to like slingshot my knee to behind his back here, okay? Now I'm gonna throw my top hook in, and I think it's important to not switch to the seatbelt here. If I switch to like my seatbelt here, Albie's on the good side of his back escape. So if he puts his back to the floor and starts turning this way, he might like escape out the back. Even though I have this seatbelt, it's not the worst, but the Kimura grip, but it's kind of the side he wants to escape. So before I loop my arm over, I use the control of my hook, my bottom knee, and my Kimura grip to turn Albie to this side first. Okay, and then now I'll put in my hook and loop my arm. Here, I need to keep this hooked. And there's a few ways we can use this to like sweep. I could potentially free my knee and use the power of my knee to help knock him over. Okay, but if you feel more comfortable shooting your leg deep through, that's fine as well. Okay, I think it just comes down more to personal preference. But as I start finishing or getting a good angle here, for Albie to save himself, a lot of times he'll roll over his left shoulder here. So as he starts to roll this way, yeah, I'll like let him go, and I'll even release my own half guard hook. And now we end up in like a Kimura trap scenario where you might feel like, okay, I'm lacking a lot of control, but the Kimura grip is very powerful here. So when I let him roll, I completely let go of my hook and I punch my Kimura to his hip, locking out my arms. And there's a few different things that can happen. If he does nothing, great. I'll just use that Kimura grip to pull him on top, turn him to his side, stable the arm, and just finish like a standard side control Kimura. Don't keep him on the side he wants to escape on, all right? So again, same setup, same start to our technique here. Blocking the arm, making sure my arm's straight, sitting up, grabbing my Kimura, and I'm trying to go for the finish for sure. But as I start to circle this way, he'll probably try and front roll out of this to leave the pressure off his shoulder, and I'll let him go, okay? Punch the Kimura grip to his hip. The more he turns to face me again, you'll feel like you can slingshot that knee all the way to his hip, and I throw my top hook in here, and I'll use my control to pull him all the way to the other side here, and then I'll loop my arm over. Okay, it doesn't need the turning to be too hard, so we start playing this triangle as well. All right, let's try it. Once I get to that Kimura trap, is if he doesn't really sit up enough that I can take the back, we have like reverse triangles as well. So same start, I start to roll him here, he rolls here. If he kind of like half-ass turns to me, I'll feel like I can't wedge my knee under. So instead, I'm gonna actually throw my top leg over and under his armpit, and then I start to like walk triangles here. Okay, usually from here, I'll be able to keep his hands connected because of the Kimora. Yeah, so this actually gives you the ability to like reach through the grip, cup his tricep, and then I can like really kick my leg straight through. So my top leg is gonna kick straight, bite, and then it just finishes the lock here. And I just think about curling my heels to my butt for my finish. Okay.